her insight on her definition of success. So we have a few questions.
Well, just wanted to let you know that Anna's accomplished so much at such a young age already. She's won 10 WTA career singles titles. She won the 2008 French Open, which most of you know is a Grand Slam event, one of the 4 biggest events in the world. She's a former world #1, and she's our #7 seed in our event this year. So I'm so happy you could make it.
Okay, well, the big question, how do you define your success?
Well, I must say I agree a lot with what I just heard, and I think it's very important. And when you said in 2 months, I just thought of, you have to make those little steps in order to achieve the big one. And that was my sort of first association when you mentioned it. And I think that's really important to realize that, giving your best every day, it's what you can ask yourself for. And eventually, it's going to bring out the best in you and your potential. And every one of us has some kind of potential and has something, that it's great. And only by applying yourself every day at it 100%, you can achieve that. So, yeah, that's my definition of success.
That's pretty good.
Did you learn that from your mom and dad, or where did that thinking come about?
Yeah, it's kind of since I was young. I mean, I started playing tennis, just by watching it on TV, and it was very inspiring for me. And I just played game because I loved the game, and I just took it one day at a time. And obviously, I had big dreams, but along the way, people always say it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but that's what's fun about it as well. And when I was very young, my coach, I was doing fitness, and my coach, I was really struggling. It was very hard. My coach said, you know what, you have to struggle here, and then it's going to be easier when you play. And that was one of the lessons I learned at a young age, and it's true, when you go out there to compete, that's what you're meant to do, and that's what we work hard for.
Can I ask you to share, we have a lot of tennis parents here, what's the best thing they can know in teaching and helping and mentoring their own children as far as tennis or school or life?
I think the most important thing parents can do is give support to their kids, whatever they choose to do, and give that unconditional love as well. And my parents were always my biggest supporter, and I think many times parents kind of put pressure on the kids without knowing that, and that's what's hard part, I think, at being the parent, at first place. But no, I think support and love is something, you can always, give, and kids feel that, and they can make their own choices and yeah, do what they like.
You've won a lot of matches, but you haven't won every single match you played, and especially when you were younger. When you would lose, how would your mom or dad talk to you, and what would they say after you lost and after you won?
Well, that's one thing. I'm very emotional, so I always took my losses very hard, especially at a young age, and afterwards you learn how to lose and so on, but and also how to win. But my parents were always very supportive, and when I was really young, my dad used to take me a lot to the junior tournaments and so on, and the only time he would get really upset at me if I was acting bad on court, if I was hitting my racket, but every other time, he tried to give me tactics, and I was like, Dad, you're not the coach, just leave me alone. And, yeah, but they still, tried to support.
Did he ever get mad at your mom if you lost? Did they get mad at you if you lost?
No, not if I lost, just if I behaved bad.
Yeah.
Having such a successful career and knowing what it takes, what would you say are the major factors that help you achieve your goals? Are like any of these blocks on the pyramid?
I think to achieve your goals, you have to have a lot of these things, and they are all very, very important puzzle, because when you get to the certain level, the only small percentage of certain things can make a difference, and I think it's very important. And determination, it's a very strong one. Team is very important as well. You have to have a good team around you that is there for you within good and bad, because it's not all good and fun and games. You have some tough times as well, so it's important to have people to rely on, and yeah.
How do you keep it all in perspective, the winning and losing, so you're able to enjoy such a long and successful career?
Well, I think for this I have to come back to what we spoke about, because it's important to give your best every day, and not every day you're going to be at your best. And sometimes you have to win ugly, and sometimes you have to, scrape. But the most important is to be positive and have good attitude on court and try your best. And sometimes it's not going to go your way. Sometimes it's going to come easier than the other times. But giving your best at that day is what matters the most.
Now, would you answer a question or two from some of the young people here? Does anybody have a question for Anna? Huh? Nobody? You're all tongue-tied. I think you're afraid to ask a question. I know you all have a question. Huh? Do I see somebody? Yeah, go ahead.
Anna, when you're traveling and you need support and your family's not there necessarily, how do you deal with that?
Well, I know that my family is always there for me, no matter if they are next to me or months away. But I know I can always rely to them, and that's something that gives me strength on the court as well. Because no matter how hard it gets, I know I have that kind of safety net and something that I can go back to always, and that's very important. Knowing, because when you're playing, you also have to deal with lots of pressures and stuff, and unfamiliar situations and people. But you have that support behind you, and you can always turn to them.
Any other questions? If you think of a question down here, raise your hand and Anna will answer your question. You won't get this chance again for a while. Go ahead.
When you're on the court, what kind of pressures do you feel?
What kind of pressures does she deal with on the court?
There is a lot of kind of pressures. You have, first of all, pressure you put on yourself, because you practice in certain way and you have expectations of how you should play, and not always it turns out to be that way. Then again, you have sometimes maybe what coach expects you to do, or media, or sponsors for that matter. So that's why I think it's very important to not even go down that road, but just try to focus on the game and try to focus more on technical things.
Anna's going to sign copies of Inch and Miles, as I understand it, right? Thank you for that. One last question I have now, and that is the pressure at your level. It must be something you can't even imagine. Do you look forward when you're on the court, when that match starts? Are you eager to get it going, or is there anxiety and fear, or are you ready for the battle? How do you go into it?
Yeah, I think before every match you kind of experience nerves, and it's good. I can now make a difference between having nerves and not having them, and you definitely want those kinds of pressures, because that puts you in a position to try your best, and you know that the expectation is there, so it means that you're in a position to do something good. But when I was young and coming up and playing these matches for the first time, I loved the pressure, because it was different kind. It wasn't like I had to prove myself again, I was just going out there to show what I can do. But then later on, when I won a Grand Slam, became #1, the pressure became a little bit different, and I wanted it so badly, and the more I forced it, the less it was coming. So now I have that both perspectives, so I feel more mature for that matter, and I feel I can deal with different pressures better.
Anna, you touched on something, and I just want to mention this in relation to John Wooden. The reason he never mentioned winning, and you said yourself just now, when that starts to take over your thinking, it diminishes your performance. And your performance here was exceptional, and thank you for giving us so much of your time. We'll let you get over there with the books, and if you'd like Anna to sign a book, she'd be happy to do it. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay. Before Anna goes over to sign some autographs, I'd like to bring all the kids up to take a picture with Anna.
Yes.